Hi everyone, this is Felicat and today I'm gonna show you the secrets of a performer's skills. I will also show you some of my dimensional drill gameplays, so stay tuned. First, I will show you my support skills when I'm with the priest. For the first job, it's always the same, just take the passive skills with steady focus, and for the attack skills, it's up to you because we're not gonna use them later on. For the second job, always take Amp and Encore at full levels. Your Amp skill gives you extra effects to many of your other skills, such as Gypsy Kiss grants more healing, Lady Luck give you more bonus damage, your Slow Grace can actually immobilize your single target enemy for 5 seconds, and your Hip Shaker will deal extra damage as well. So the Amp skill is non-negotiable. Next, we're gonna look at the Encore skill. Encore will prolong your skill effect for the next 10 seconds at its level 5 skill level, basically prolonging your skill duration. I also took dance lessons to increase my P attack. However, this skill is optional and can be changed with other skills. Next up, we're gonna look at Gypsy Kiss. So if you pay attention to the Gypsy Kiss formula, you'll see that in PvP and PvE, there is different formulas for the healing. This is why you heal less when you're in PvP or when you're surrounded by more party members. This is one of the reasons why healing is more secondary to me rather than surviving in a team fight. Other than that, I also use the Hip Shaker skill to activate the crowd control effect from my weapon cards. We only need a level 1 Hip Shaker to be able to activate the damage on the enemy. We don't need a high damage on the enemy itself to activate the proc on my weapon cards. I also personally like to use Dazzler because I can stun the enemies during team fights. I took the Throw Arrow skill at level 5 because it's a prerequisite for my Arrow Vulcan. But next, we're gonna talk about Slow Grace. Not only does it slow down the enemies, but it also immobilizes a single target enemy because of the Amp effect. Definitely take fantasy music. It will increase your healing done by 5% up to 5 stacks. So that's 25% healing done bonus. Other skills may be optional, but fantasy music is one of the ones that you definitely have to take. Lady Luck is more of an option because it only helps allies with critical. But don't forget the 5% damage bonus from the Amp effect. I personally don't like to take Lullaby because it is a duo performance skill, which means if you cast other skills, the duo performance stops. Furthermore, it has the sleep effect. This will instantly be cancelled the moment that you hit the enemy. And those are the reasons why I don't take the Lullaby skill. You can see I took more second job skills rather than the Transcendent second job. In here, the most important skill is the Death Valley, which allows you to resurrect your teammates at a minimum casting time of 0.8 seconds. Your variable cast time is affected by your intelligence. But moving on, the second most important skill that you have to take will be the Dance Mastery. Dance Mastery gives you a lot of great buffs. However, there's a difference between the Dancer and the Bard's passive. In the Dancer, it is P damage reduction, but for Bards, it will be magic damage reduction instead. Other than that, we are not taking the Don't Hold Me Back skill because even in duo performance, most of the time you don't move. We also don't take Battle Theme because we have a priest with us. Next up is the Puppet Master's trick, which we take at level 5 to buff our teammates. Next up, I also take the Arrow Vulcan skill. This skill allows me to attack the enemies that will trigger my proc card skills. I also personally really like to use Loki's Lament, but this skill is very situational and I do not recommend it for everyone. It is a dual performance skill that prevents all target which includes your teammates as well from using skills or items, but normal attacks are still possible, so you can use it when you have a sniper or such in your team. Duo performance skills are only available when you have another performer with you. So if you are a bard, you need a dancer. If you are a dancer, you need a bard. If you don't have another performer with you, then you can use the puppet dance skill. Be careful when using this skill because it cuts your HP by 20% even at the maximum skill level. You definitely have to take the movement skills and the anti-debuff skill as well. Other than that, it is the duo performance skills, and it is up to you whether or not to take these skills. So as I've mentioned, you can sacrifice some skill points from the dance lessons and put them in Eternal Chaos or even Nibelungen's Ring. But personally, I don't take Final Rhapsody because it's only a single AoE skill that does not continuously attack the enemy. You can if you want, and depending on your team's composition, take Nibelungen's Ring because it increases their fire, water, wind, and earth damage. Now I want to show you guys some secrets for the performer skills. To be able to do dual performance skills, you have to summon the puppet first, then cast the skill, like this. It has a big AoE, even in the Eternal Chaos. You cannot cast a solo performance skill after you cast the duo performance, or it will cancel the first duo performance skill. Let me show you. So I will first cast Loki's Lament and then Slow Grace. As you can see, it immediately cancelled my Loki's Lament skill. However, if I cast Eternal Chaos, I still have the Encore effect from my Slow Grace. Now I want to give a shout out to Hams from the ROOC Discord to bring this to my attention. But if you cast 3 different solo skills at the same time, it will cancel out your first skill. This applies to the AoE skills, which I'm going to show you now, between Gypsy Kiss, Lady Luck, and Slow Grace. So if I do Slow Grace first, then cast Gypsy Kiss and Lady Luck, the Slow Grace will be removed. If I cast Slow Grace, the Gypsy Kiss will be removed, and so on according to the order in which you cast the skill. However, if you cast another skill such as Dazzler, which is not really AoE, it does not cancel the Slow Grace or the Lady Luck. Now I will show you my auto settings and manual skill set. You can just use Lady Luck if you're only buffing your team. But if you are also wanting to enable your proc, you can use the Hip Shaker and Arrow Vulcan as well. Do take note that these extra skills that you use in your auto settings will lower your overall heal over time. This is because you're also casting the other skills and not just spamming your Gypsy Kiss only. Because if you spam your Gypsy Kiss, you'll constantly get the level 10 effect from Gypsy Kiss instead of just the Encore level 5 effect. So you can do this as well in the auto if you want to just focus on healing and resurrecting your team. Personally, I like to put all my crowd control effects on one page for the manual settings. So I put the puppet dance there as well as the Loki's Lament. I can also cast the Eternal Chaos as well as the Dazzler and also the Slow Grace. I will also show you briefly my skill allocation for the support solo skill set. For the second job, I definitely still take Amp and Encore, Dazzler and Slow Grace, as well as the level 10 singing voice. I needed to buff my teammates P-Def because we do not have a priest with us to cast the Angelus. You do not want to cast the singing voice if there is a priest with you because you will be fighting with the Angelus of the priest. You will keep spamming singing voice and the priest will keep spamming Angelus. Same thing, I also took the Hip Shaker, the Dazzler, Slow Grace, and definitely Fantasy Music. So those are my second job skills. Moving on to the Transcendent second job, I still take the Resurrection, Dance Mastery, but we also need to take Battle Theme. Again, don't fight with the Assumptio of the Priest, because Battle Theme is only 10%, whereas Assumptio is 100% in increased PDef MDef. Moving on, I also take the Puppet Master's Trick as well as Arrow Vulcan, but I do not take the Puppet Dance when I am solo support. As you can see, I also did not take the bottom skills, but we still need Curtain Call as well as Joyful Notes. These are my skill settings for my solo support skills. It's basically the same as my support with Priest, but you can also put in your singing voice as well as your battle theme, or you can choose to put it in your manual skill settings. However, for the manual skill settings, I prefer that you only focus on Resurrection, battle theme, and singing voice. Maybe Slow Grace and Dazzler as well, but I did not show it in this video. My suggestion is for you guys to experiment what you like to cast manually and set it up according to your preference. Now here are some of my dimensional drill gameplays. I hope you enjoy!